start. Okay, so I'm here today interviewing Frank Sondors from Salesforge.ai. Hey, Frank, thanks for joining me. Can you introduce yourself? Tell us a bit about who you are and what you do.
Yeah, so I've been in B2B sales for well over a decade, been in frontline sales, doing a bunch of cold calling. I sent probably a few million cold emails in my life. And then I led a sales team last year of 50 people, so a bunch of sales development reps, account execs, etc. And I realized that there's a huge problem in the world of sales, as in folks just send a bunch of templates out there. And the problem with that is that users just have generally a fatigue with looking at templates. It's just like banner ads on the website. So when you're scrolling through a blog, there's a bunch of ads, you just don't look at them. And the same with the inbox, where you can just see it's a template. And because of that, most folks do not reply and say, cold emails that. And unless the offer is really good, this is when you actually reply, right? So however, most folks or most companies don't necessarily have a super good offer. A lot of companies are selling like a nice to have solution, and you really need to think about how you personalize every single email. But the problem is when you scale, you can't really ask your reps to personalize every email. So this is why folks do end up reverting to templates. So yeah, I built a software that allows to craft unique emails at scale. Actually not through humans, but through AI essentially. So yeah, so we've been working on this product since the beginning of the year. We went live about a couple months ago. Currently already have over 80 companies on the platform, over 2K in MRR. Yeah, that's kind of where we are, and we are gradually sort of scaling. In the beginning, just for naturally, all the founders know you need to do things that don't scale. So for us, we spend a lot of time on, I don't know, Reddit, various sort of WhatsApp groups that I'm in, let's say sales communities, Slack communities, where else, like different essentially places, but ultimately doesn't scale, including LinkedIn actually. So founders have to really figure out, how they will acquire systematically users, and they have to usually choose one channel that will really work for them. So most companies or most B2B SaaS companies in B2C choose usually SEO versus the PPC route, let's say, or social media. However, when you do B2B, actually the channel that I would argue as well, which is the reason why I built the software in email for now, is cold email, because actually sending emails doesn't cost a lot of money. It is a very complicated topic because you land very frequently in spam, because Google doesn't like when you send a lot of emails. And then the problem is, it doesn't work, let's say, when you send a bunch of templates. So there's many challenges. It's very complex. So we decided to tackle that problem and help startup founders, maybe big companies, agencies, to figure out how to reach out to prospects in a way that it actually works. And arguably, from a profitability standpoint, we are significantly more profitable than giving money to Google ads or Facebook ads. So,
cool. Hey, Frank, that's awesome. I love the way you come from a sales background. You know the problem very well. So you've built a tool specifically to deal with the challenges of outbound email. You've launched this product, you've bootstrapped the business so far, right?
Yeah, correct. Yeah. I guess the problem for everybody, especially right now during the downturn, is none of the VCs really want to give you money pre-revenue. Unless you're competing against OpenAI, just like this one company in France that raised a bunch of money. So we are like in the red ocean space, right? There's a lot of competitors. However, all the competitors are sending templates. So we ultimately compete against templates. Yeah. And so this is our differentiation in the market. And naturally, you see that from a perspective of that it drives significantly higher reply rates. So customers are seeing net positive impact. And by sending actually unique content in emails rather than templates, it helps you with your email deliverability. Cool. Because sending static content, Google and Microsoft, they can see that you're sending exactly the same content at scale. And this is where you gradually your email deliverability deteriorates. So,
yeah. Okay, so that's cool. It sounds like you're moving away from templates, more into personalization, more into AI, more into tactics that make cold email have an impact or improve the deliverability and the replies. Do you have any co-founders, or you a solo founder for Salesforge?
Yeah, I have two co-founders. So initially the idea was mine, naturally. However, I met my co-founders actually, funny enough, on Y Combinator, a matchmaking platform. I thought to myself, I don't know anybody in my network. I have a bunch of salespeople that I know, or a lot of prospects who are on LinkedIn, but I barely know any engineers that could, handle me sort of, I'm quite active. And but yeah, funny enough, so there's actually two of them. They know each other from the first grade. They went to the same uni. They built a few apps, but nothing really financially really took off. So I was like the missing commercial piece. And they didn't have a really good idea actually what is it that they would love to build. So there was, so they actually messaged me on Y Combinator saying, hey, I really like, what you do. Let's have a chat about this. So we did. They're like, oh yes, I'm ready to, start coding tonight. And I said, no, wait a second. First of all, we're gonna do some user interviews. So, do it the right way. Gonna try and figure out, scope this out, properly, etc. So we kind of paused this whole development for a couple months. So then I went through a pre-seed accelerator called Antler. Actually flew over to Berlin for that. Spend a bunch of time with a cohort of 40, 50 people. Kind of gives you that ability to focus. It's super important, especially when you're a father and have 2 kids. So you need that focus. So you need to kind of fly somewhere else, be in the same sort of space with other sort of startup wannabes, and really try and either hook up with one of them. So search for a technical co-founder in my case, or just be in that zone where we're all trying to get our kind of baby off the ground. Yeah. So
yeah,
and
good
then
to be around that energy and that focus, and everyone, that the effect and the influence of everyone else rubs off on you too. It's good to be in that space, gets you productive, right? So you've just launched 2 months ago. You already have 2K MRR, so that's not a bad start. And 80 users. Are these 80 paying users, or what's your model like? Is it freemium with a kind of upgrade plans?
Good question. So the thing in our case is because what we do is we compute emails in real time. Computation and data fetching costs a lot of money. So we currently don't do trials because of that. Because if I would do a trial, the problem is it's going to cost us a lot, especially being bootstrapped. So unless we raise, we can't give a trial where we can give you a good amount of consumption to kind of figure it out. However, we will do trials probably by September, where we will give you the ability to say to compute, say, 10 emails, just to give you an idea how this actually works. But really, if somebody is looking to see a difference between, let's say, how they're currently doing versus a new way of doing it, say with Salesforge, they really have to scale it up. So at least sort of reach out to about 1,000 leads. And that's a lot of money for us to service trials in that way. So we're just asking for founders to get a 1-month subscription as a sort of a test, because we don't do annual contracts. Like, there's no point. We believe that the proof's in the pudding. Once you see after the first campaign that your results are significantly better than anything that you've done, you're gonna stick around anyway. So because our current churn rate is 0 with the product, so it gives us confidence that most folks will see value. Of course, somebody will churn in the future, but still that majority are not churning. They are seeing value. They are sticking around, and we are sort of hashing out various sort of features or bugs along the way. It's important to provide support in the early days to every single user that you onboard, not just in the way of kind of setting up automated messages and then, but no, actually proactively checking in with every single user in a channel that's comfortable for them. So for example, I'm checking with one user on LinkedIn, with the second one on WhatsApp, then Slack community that we have, like various different ways, and I'm trying to make sure that they are super successful, because I want my retention rate to be as close to 100% as possible in the first sort of 3 to 6 months.
Yeah, don't you think, since you've only launched for 2 months, your churn rate might be low now because you haven't got enough time?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Right?
But you do expect some folks after the first month to churn already. So that hasn't happened yet. So that's a positive signal for us. But yeah, usually there's a bit of a lag, right? So you need to wait for another few months. Yeah.
And then do you think maybe once you've validated a little bit the stickiness of the product, maybe introducing annual plans with something like a 20% discount might be a good move for you to just increase retention or LTV? Yeah,
exactly. So, yeah. I mean, definitely. So we already provide 20% discount. It just nobody goes for that because it's still a relatively new concept. As in, hey, instead of sending templates, now I'm going to send unique emails at scale using AI, and people are still skeptical about ChatGPT because they had bad experience trying to write up stuff in ChatGPT. Whereas in this case, you actually you lose the control, as in what's in the actual message. AI takes over. Yes, you can proofread one by one, but guess what I do? I just load 1,000 leads into the software, and within 2 minutes, with a click of a button, it's all personalized. It all goes out. And that's, the sort of efficiency that I'm able to provide to a startup founder that can't afford employees, but still needs to scale and 10x somehow the pipeline. Yeah. And I know that, Google ads and Facebook ads are just too expensive. So this is why, email is still the cheapest form of acquisition, in my opinion.
So Frank,
allows you not to hire folks. Yeah.
So Frank, when you say you're setting up a campaign in Salesforge, what do you need to put into what content do you need to put into your campaign to enable the AI to do the rest of it? Yeah. So I assume you've got your list. You also need to have an offer, and maybe you're articulating.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So there's two things for AI to do a really good job. So the problem is that other solutions haven't engineered really let's call it a logic. What should be the input data? So that means the context that you provide to the AI, the constraints that you provide, the goal that you provide to the AI. So let's say from a goal standpoint, we have engineered essentially a way for the AI to drive the maximum possible reply. So the way that practically it looks like is that it writes short and snappy emails with soft CTAs in it, and it does that at scale, right? Because over 60% of emails are being read on a mobile device. Now, when it comes to the input data for AI, we need two data sets. One is what is called the seller data, so meaning all information about you. So you can set up multiple products or the same products with different value props, and we ask you questions, very simple questions that you should know by heart, which is, what's the main problem that you're tackling for your prospects? What's the solution that you have for that particular problem? What's the cost of inaction? If you don't decide to go ahead with the product. And that's enough information for AI to do its magic. And then you still need the buyer data. So, the prospects, all the information about them. So this is where when we ask for you to upload the list onto our software via CSV, this is where we ask for the LinkedIn URL of the person. So this is where we go on LinkedIn, we fetch all the information, the headline, the about section, the current title, the job description, what's the post maybe that they've written last 30 days. And then we feed those two data sets into AI to craft these unique emails. So in the future, we'll be also able to do websites, Instagram profiles, Google My Business profiles, anything that's really structured. So we call this really, if you think about programmatic advertising, this is essentially programmatic outbound sequencing, what we're designing. And in the future, we'll just add a couple more channels. So for example, LinkedIn, for you to be able to use the same AI engine over to LinkedIn. And then we have some interesting things coming over to also have the ability to dial prospects as well, right? So having a natively inbuilt dialer. And because, these are the 3-4 channels of B2B acquisition. So.
Cool. Sounds fascinating. So it sounds like you're improving deliverability and response rate, but you're also speeding up the process, right? Because all of this AI is kind of gathering the content, writing the emails. So I imagine like one of your value props is doing more emails in less time. Is that right?
Correct. Yes. So we have also built out various email deliverability features to essentially help you stay out of spam. So just so you know, one simple example is we natively validate the email addresses before you would actually send anything to those folks. Okay. Because if your bounce rate is over 2%, Google and Microsoft tracks that, and then what they do is they use that as a variable to send you more into a spam folder. So we thought to ourselves, we have to have that as a basic requirement within the app. And then we do other things as well within the app to kind of boost the email deliverability. But on average right now, we're seeing anywhere between 70 to 90% open rate across the client base, which is pretty good. Let's say if somebody's using something simple like HubSpot as an example, they're usually seeing anywhere between 30 to 50% open rate. Just to give you a comparison, with the CRM sort of native sequencing there. And by having double the open rate, ultimately will mean double the replies, double the sales output, right? So, and then when you kind of fuse that with the AI capabilities by writing unique emails to everybody, that in itself doubles the reply rate in comparison to using templates. So overall, the sales output massively scales, and you can actually add multiple inboxes into the software because, Google and Microsoft, they don't like when you say, send more than 50 emails per inbox per day. So, the only really solution is to have multiple inboxes to kind of trying to figure out a way. But this is what allows you to scale as well.
Yeah, awesome. Hey, Frank, I've really enjoyed talking to you. It's awesome hearing about Salesforge. I think you've got a really cool tool there. Look forward to seeing what you do with it. How can people follow you and try out the product?
Sure. I mean, they can just, connect on LinkedIn. I'm super active on there. And then, you can go on the website, Salesforge.ai, check out the product. If you have any questions, we have the chat app. Just ask me questions. I'm always on chat. And yeah, or any other channel. So I'm probably everywhere. So yeah.
Awesome. Okay, thanks, Frank. Okay, so if you're listening, check out salesforge.ai. Thanks for chatting with us, Frank. We'll see you around.